If you've ever felt how someone can change your day-to-day life through simple messages, and this overwhelms and confuses you, this video is essential for you. We'll discover together how a narcissistic person can turn an everyday device like a mobile phone into a tool for emotional manipulation. Here are the 5 ways a narcissist manipulates you with a mobile phone. Number 1. Messages at any time. In the first point, we address how narcissists use the mobile phone to constantly infringe on your personal schedules, sending you messages at completely inappropriate times. It doesn't matter if it's in the middle of the night, if you are in the middle of a work meeting, or enjoying a quiet moment, they expect you to respond. This constant demand is a clear sign of their lack of respect for your personal boundaries and their need to reaffirm their presence in your life, regardless of your own needs or commitments. This behavior reflects a deeply entrenched sense of entitlement in narcissists. They operate under the belief that you belong to them, which leads them to demand your immediate and constant attention. By ignoring your needs and pressuring you to prioritize theirs, they seek to reinforce their control over you. This is part of a broader strategy to keep you in a constant state of alert and emotional dependence, where the anxiety to respond to their messages becomes a central concern in your daily life. Number 2. Message bombardment and subsequent silence. In the second point, we focus on how narcissists manipulate through the mobile phone by initially bombarding the victim with messages and attention, followed by periods of cold and distant silence. At first, the victim feels overwhelmed by a deluge of communications that seem loving and attentive. Text messages, frequent calls, and perhaps even poems or songs sent at any hour. This constant flow can make someone feel special and deeply connected, building an expectation of constant communication and personalized attention. However, as soon as the narcissist perceives that their victim is hooked and emotionally dependent, they drastically change their behavior. The messages become sporadic or cease without explanation, leaving the victim in a state of confusion and anxiety. This hot and cold pattern is a manipulation tactic designed to create a bond of emotional dependency. The victim, accustomed to the previous high level of attention, finds themselves desperate to return to those moments of connection, which further increases their vulnerability to narcissistic control. This manipulative game not only affects the emotional stability of the victim but also reinforces the abuser's power and control over their emotional well-being. Number 3. Deliberately ignoring you. Narcissists use the behavior of deliberately ignoring their partners as a form of manipulation. This tactic involves a calculated emotional disconnection. They might be sitting next to you, but they prefer to spend hours exchanging messages with others, or they might stay online and visibly active on social networks while ignoring your messages. This act of neglect is neither casual nor innocent. It is a meticulously orchestrated way to make you feel invisible and undervalued, undermining your self-esteem and fostering a feeling of insecurity and doubt about your worth in the relationship. This behavior is part of a broader cycle of devaluation, where the narcissist seeks to manipulate your emotions to maintain control over you. By making you feel ignored and unappreciated, the narcissist creates an atmosphere of emotional desperation in which you start to question your importance to them and, by extension, your own personal worth. This type of manipulation is especially harmful because it is based on the fundamental human need to be seen and valued by those we love and respect. By denying you that validation, the narcissist keeps you in a constant state of waiting and craving approval, which increases your emotional dependency on them and facilitates their control over the relationship dynamics. Number 4. Manipulative sexting. The fourth point addresses a very specific manipulation technique involving sexting, where narcissists, especially in the early stages of a relationship, initiate the sending of explicit or erotic messages without having established clear consent with the other person. This practice may initially seem like intense and mutual interest, but it quickly reveals itself as a tactic to test and transgress personal boundaries. Narcissists use this method not only to seduce and capture their partner's attention, but also to establish a dynamic in which the victim feels compelled to respond in a similar manner. This creates pressure to share more than one feels comfortable with, using guilt or accusations of a lack of commitment or love as tools of coercion. This type of interaction becomes a way to gain power over the victim. As once compromising content has been shared, the narcissist has material that can be used to manipulate or even threaten the person in the future. In later stages, especially during the devaluation phase, many victims regret having engaged in this exchange, feeling a deep vulnerability and remorse. In exploring the messages and intentions behind sexting driven by a narcissist, it is crucial to recognize these interactions for what they truly are: manipulation tools designed to compromise your emotional and psychological autonomy, leaving you exposed and at the mercy of the manipulator. Number 5. Conversations that seem meaningful. The fifth point focuses on the deep and emotionally intense conversations that a narcissist can offer at the beginning of a relationship. During this initial phase, the narcissist appears as a perfect interlocutor. Attentive, interested, and seemingly empathetic. Conversations often extend late into the night, making the victim feel deeply seen and understood, as if they had found their soulmate. This level of emotional connection, which is not intended to be sustained over time, is a calculated tactic to create a very strong bond quickly, ensuring that the victim feels special and unique in the narcissist's life. However, this intensity is neither genuine nor lasting. Once the narcissist feels that the victim is sufficiently hooked, these emotional conversations tend to drastically diminish or disappear, giving way to periods of cold distance. This abrupt change in behavior can leave the victim disoriented, anxious, and yearning for the initial connection, instigating what is known as a traumatic bond. This cycle of idealization followed by devaluation is devastating, as it manipulates the victim's emotional hopes and expectations, keeping them in a state of constant uncertainty and emotional dependence on the narcissist. Realizing these narcissistic manipulation strategies is the first step towards recovery and towards reaffirming your personal autonomy. I would love to hear your thoughts and experiences in the comments, and if you liked the video, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. See you in the next video.